The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have an investment banker in the house, and he's an investment banker of colour. So I'm very interested, but he's not only an investment banker, he owns his own investment banking company. But sadly, ladies, he is taken. He is a fitness fanatic. He does it 5 days a week, which is probably better than me. And he has his hobbies. He likes going along the countryside with the missus and doing all the nice walks. And probably goes to Spain on the weekend. Yeah, see that laugh, that guilty laugh in the background? But anyway, without further ado, nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Okay, so tell us, what kind of person were you when you were in school?
I think I was someone who was very easily distracted, someone who wanted recognition from their peers. So in a nutshell, a bit of a show-off. I used to opposed to paying too much attention in class. I'd rather get jokes from my friends and like to be the centre of attention.
Well, that's very in detail. That's probably most in detailed response. The typical response is, well, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. And next question, please. So I can see where you own your own investment bank, because you're analytical.
Yeah,
look at
well,
analytically.
with what we do, it involves a lot of self-reflection. So yeah, I would say that I've done a lot of reflection in relation to the way I've done things or the way that I am. So yeah, I've got this sort of down to a T.
You grew up in Shooters Hill area?
Yeah, Shooters Hill, Plumstead near Woolwich.
What was that like, growing up around there?
Pretty rough. Just when I was young, playing football on estates and stuff like that.
So you're a council estate?
So I didn't live on a council estate myself, no. But it was a council house. But there was a massive estate behind where I lived called Barnfield, which is quite a notorious housing development. But yeah, I used to play football on there and stuff like that when I was a child. Okay, so you've gone from, you could say, rags to riches. Yeah, you could say.
Oh, you're doing better.
Yeah,
probably,
no, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Moving forward.
And your parents, what was your old man? What was your parents' profession?
So my father hasn't had any involvement in my life until recently, actually. So I grew up in a single parent household. So my mum has been she used to be a social worker, but obviously as well she had 2 sons, so me and my brother. So spent a lot of time obviously raising us, as well as trying to juggle jobs, work within that.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother's 40 now.
Okay. Yeah. And who would you say has been your main mentor in life?
Mentor? I'd say that my mentor that I got would probably be somebody that I used to work for a few years back. I worked with this guy for probably the best part of around, say, 5, maybe 6 years. And I think, yeah, he would be probably someone I'd classify as definitely a mentor.
And what would you say is the most valuable thing you've learned from him?
There's a list of things that I've learned from this guy. But the one thing that I'd say that I took, or I wouldn't even say that, it wasn't anything that he advised, but just from watching him, was to be myself. I think when I was a lot younger, I was always watching other people and trying to replicate them instead of actually believing in my own ability. So yeah, that was one thing that I got from him, was that I just learned to be myself. And yeah, once I kind of mastered that, fine-tuned that, yeah, my progression got sped up drastically.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been in the banking industry?
Banking industry, I got into it in 2012, so the year of the Olympics.
Okay. So what motivated you to join that industry?
Obviously, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, and the money is a massive attraction. But personally, yeah, I would kind of just there wasn't really I didn't feel like I had any sort of form of calling. I wasn't really interested in work prior to this. It was almost kind of just would always want to try to make a fast buck in whatever way, shape or form. But then got really tired of that. So Yeah, someone who inspired me when I was very young was my uncle. My uncle works in the banking industry as well, so, and has done very well. So he was always my inspiration. So when I was a young kid, I wanted to work in the banking sector. Kind of lost sight of that, and then kind of got back into it when I was slightly older.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you say your uncle guided you to getting into the banking
No,
sector?
not at all.
So you just picked it up
all.
yourself?
Yeah, I did it completely myself.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So what's the route, the academic route that you need to take if you're going to advise a younger person to become like you, the success story? What would you...
Personal development is very, very important. So this is the stuff that you would do outside of, say, schooling. So I read a lot of books, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and yeah, that's really definitely helped my development and my progression. Give me more of a deeper understanding of what's going on, how to act in this world, and just determination. That's it. Have a goal, write a plan of how you want to achieve it, and then just act upon it every day.
Okay.
Don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Was a degree necessary?
No, I have no degree. I have no form of school education either. I've got no school degrees or GCSEs or
Really?
anything like that. No, I left school early.
You don't sound like it.
Again, that's just from experience, from working on the job.
So you just know how to present yourself.
Yeah, I've always been able to articulate my words pretty well, and always been confident to speak to people. So if we kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, like when I was in school, I was always wanting to be the person who was cracking jokes. So I was always talking. That was my main thing. It was always like, okay, Tyrone would do very well if he stopped talking in lessons. So kind of just applied myself into an area where you get paid for talking.
Okay. But okay, so what's you said you've trained in the investment banking and you've just learned through working in there.
Yeah.
What was it like getting the first job, the trainee or assistant role?
It was quite hard, again, with no form of experience or qualifications to back me up. All I had was myself. That was my CV, was just me. I went to a few interviews that didn't pan out.
Yeah, she must have gone to... You go to an interview and you got your CV just to get into the interview. If you've got no GCSEs or anything...
To be fair, it's like the first places that I went for, I had an agency, so like a recruitment agent. You tell them what type of job you want, and then they'll find a job for you and put you through. So they would have been aware of what grades I had and stuff like that.
They do the legwork.
Yeah, I think they do the legwork, and I think it's like you do an interview with the recruiter beforehand, so they would have met you and been like, actually, I've met him, might not have the best grades, but he's got that something about him that's
got the gift of the gab
or something
he's
like
got
that.
the potential.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
that's really interesting. Why I say that's really interesting is because I think a lot of people make wrong decisions because they don't know the options that are out there. And if a lot of people who didn't get grades at school knew what you knew, they wouldn't give up and go on a mundane job or do something they're not liking, or maybe even turn to crime.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. I would have to say that I didn't know that the options were there. It's not like I was advised or anyone said that, yeah, you can get into it by doing this route. I just went and did it.
How did you find out about getting the agent then?
I just knew that you could get recruitment agencies. I just knew that they existed. I think it was like a company called like Office Angels or something like that. And then just went onto websites. So it was a matter of, and this is like really back in the day. So it was like I was going to internet cafes, creating a CV, send it, email them, wait for an email, go back down the road to check if I had any emails because I didn't have the internet or anything at my house. And then then going down to their office. I think their office was in like Liverpool Street, doing a brief interview with them, and then they start putting you forward for positions.
Okay, that's really interesting.
I didn't actually get a position through them though. That's not how I got in.
Tell us your secret then.
So it was actually, to be fair, I'm a big advocate for like the law of attraction, and I believe I just attracted this into my life. But I had a conversation with someone just off the chance about wanting to get into the industry, and then I went to this particular interview set up by the agency. Didn't go well, but then I basically talked my way into getting a second chance. Went again. They basically said, yeah, we kind of like you, but still we want you to go away, come back again. Went away for a third time. Then they asked me to come back a fourth time, and I gave up. I was like, sod this is not for me. And I was walking out of the building, and then just as I was leaving the building, I got a phone call from somebody else, and they was like, oh yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago you said that you wanted to get into such and such career. Are you still interested in that? And I was like, yeah. He said, well, my brother's got a company and they're looking to recruit. So literally I went straight from that place, jumped on a train, went to their office, and it was perfect because when they started interviewing me, because I had learned a bit about investments from doing all of these interviews before, I aced that one. So they was like, oh, okay, what sort of understanding do you have? And I said, oh yeah. And then I asked them questions, and I was like, okay, so they thought I knew my stuff. And then yeah, literally I started the following Monday.
So what happened after that? I suppose you just did some real homework. Once you got the job, you were studying at home, doing extra hours.
Yeah, that was it. Because it's kind of like anything in life. It's like football. Like the goals are not really made on the football pitch. The goals are made in training. Do you know what I mean? That's where the goals are created, and it's the same with our work. Like, so it's the stuff that you're doing outside of work which really progresses you. So yeah, I was just doing pretty much. I was just like a sponge. So whatever not like in the sense of like sucking up stuff, but like absorbing things.
Yeah, I understand.
So whatever I was advised to do, whatever books I was told to do. Our industry is, I have to say, it's quite cult-like. So some people in the outside world would maybe think it's quite almost like you'd feel like it's a bit of a cult in a sense. Like some of the stuff that you are suggested to do is quite extreme.
Like what?
So I was advised by one of my bosses, as soon as I got involved, was advised to delete everybody out of my phone book and have just 5 numbers. And that's it. Delete everybody and block everybody and just focus and don't speak to no one. And that's something that I did. So literally just went down to like my mum and I think I couldn't tell you who the 5 people were.
Your mum, your brother, and
basically, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just about having that tunnel vision, having that focus, no distractions. And yeah, I feel like just by absorbing everything that people suggested to me for me to do, helped me excel and progress.
That's real deep. Delete everybody. I think that's good though.
Yeah, of course.
Because years ago, I used to decide, I'm not going to call anybody. And I remember my phone wouldn't ring for 3 months unless it was my mum. And that gave me a lot of clarity.
Of course.
About who really matters in your life, what you're really about, and going for your own goals.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you got to think as well, like how much time that probably frees up. Because if you're not speaking with people constantly on the phone, well then, I don't know, average phone conversation is maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. But then those telephone conversations then lead to you meeting up with that person, then going out for drinks, going out for food. And these are just extra hours that you could be using towards your development. But of course, once you see some form of success, then start socializing, enjoying life. But at the early stages, like when you're at your infancy, like when it's like embryonic, yeah, you want to kind of just be like tunnel vision, blinkers.
Well, the beauty of what that system allows, you clear house. It's like tidying up your room, yeah, and then, or emptying your room rather, and then everything you put in there is specific to what matters, what enhances you, what helps you in life. And so your focus is not going to be challenged. And if it does get challenged, then let's say you met someone new and she's causing issues, you could just say, oh, she's definitely not for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think as well, it's like if you are taking something that serious and you know that you're putting everything into it, let's say for example you put all of your time and your effort into it and it doesn't pan out, well then you're not going to be too disheartened, because you're going to feel like, okay, well maybe this isn't my calling. Like there's nothing worse when, and I've experienced it prior to working in this industry, like I'd have an opportunity that was pretty good, and then because I might have applied myself but not completely applied myself, well then when it doesn't go to plan, you look back at it and you think you got a bit of regret because you didn't actually do everything within your power. So I just kind of made a decision that this time, with this particular opportunity, I was going to make it work, and look back and at least be able to say, well, yeah, I gave that a good crack, gave it my all. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. But it just happened so that it did.
Yeah, no, I see that. If you want to take the island, you burn the boats.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good saying. I like that.
No, I tried it when I was doing my own business in Kenya. The whole thing is, if you're going to burn the boats, you got to make sure the whole pirate crew are on the same page.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're left standing there with a coconut on a desert island. Yeah, nothing else. So, when did you decide that you wanted to own your own investment bank?
So what we are, so we're like a wealth management company. So that's what we do. So we manage people's investments. So we're not an investment bank. But I would say that once I got to a position where I felt like my opinion wasn't being heard in the company that I was working at, and I'm someone that when it comes to work, like very loyal, like to the person that I'm working with. However, I just felt at the time that it wasn't really being reciprocated. I didn't feel that that person had my best interest at heart. So it wasn't a situation where I sat there and thought, okay, one day, yeah, I want to be my own boss, because I never really did want to be my own boss. I just always just wanted to make good money, whether it was if it meant I was working for somebody and making good money, or working for myself. As long as the money was good, I wouldn't mind. I don't have any ego or anything like that. But it was just more just down to my voice not really being heard or anything like that. So
why do you think your voice wasn't being heard?
I think the person had a lot going on in their life, probably a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of. So they had their own focus, their own stuff that they needed to sort out, and had their own objectives, which I don't really blame anybody for. Yeah, it's like, I can't really, for me at that particular time, I didn't feel that I could leave the direction of my future in somebody else's hands, unless the information that they was providing me was concrete. So if it's a situation where someone's like, listen, we're doing this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, then we're going to do this, and then I can be like, yeah, okay, cool, I can get on board with this. But if it's a situation where someone's just like, just trust me, it's going to be okay.
Troubleshooting.
Yeah, sort of like, just trust me, it's going to be okay. Nah, like
So you need some logic to what they're saying.
Yeah, of course. It's like it'd be like at the end of this journey, like if we got to the end and then you was like, and let's say it was like the old days and I was paying cash, and then I was like to you, he was like, okay, have you got that cash? And I was like, yeah, don't worry, you'll have the cash. You'll be like, what? Like, no, I need to know, when am I getting it? Like, with those sort of things, you need a definitive answer. So I think for me, it was just, I didn't have enough confidence, that I wasn't getting enough confidence from what the person was saying to me at the time. So yeah, I looked into alternative options for my benefit.
Okay, that's good. So you've been in this business 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
It's like,
it's because it seems probably like even longer, but it's actually only 10 years.
But then a lot's gone on though.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why it seems like longer.
Yeah. And if a lot's gone on, you've learned a lot.
Yeah, no, of course. Like, I would say, like, if growth could be like on a chart, over the last 10 years, my growth has excelled exponentially. Like,
Talking about growth, what does the future hold for you?
nothing definitive. I would say that previously I was someone who was very definitive in regards to I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But yeah, at this moment in time, I've taken a bit more of a different approach as I got slightly older, and it's more about happiness for me now. So, and the people that I spend it with. So, yeah, future for me involves bettering people around me, lifting people, elevating them, and yeah, just continuing to build and grow as a person. And yeah, I just know that if I focus on that, everything else will fall into place as well.
With your business now, your company now,
Yeah.
do you offer training schemes for your young or people like yourself?
Not so much. I do recruit people, so I have a recruitment agency who hires people for me, and the approach that I always take when hiring people is I tell them to leave the CV at the door as soon as they come through the door and come into my office. So I make them to get all of those generic PC sort of answers that they expect me to want to hear out of their head, and I ask them to just be completely truthful. What they want, what's their aspirations, what they want to achieve, because everybody's different. People can't buy into your dreams. They can only buy into their own. Do you know what I mean?
So their dreams and your dreams need to be in line.
They need to be in line, but it's like I can't change somebody's dreams for them. So the reason I say that is because so when I interview someone, I always ask them, okay, what do you want to achieve from this job? And then you get a lot of people where they try to come with an answer where what they expect you to want to hear, like, okay, I want to purchase my mum a house or whatever, and I think, okay, but is that the real reason why you're here? And then you get down to it, and then you find out really they just want to go to West End and drink champagne, like, so so it's a matter of, I'd rather people just be completely honest, and then like I can work with that.
I suppose also that's a test of character as well.
Yeah, no, of course.
Can you, it's like MI6 employ murderers.
Yeah.
But they won't employ people. They're very reluctant to employ people who are broke in debt.
Yeah.
Because if you're a murderer, as long as you say, yeah, I killed this guy, he had it coming. I did my 15 years. I say, okay, fair enough. And they still take you on. You see what I mean? But if you're in debt, that means you're handling your affairs badly now.
Yeah, it's true.
And things like that.
No, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I do make a point of is just like, I feel that sometimes everybody just needs an opportunity, and I don't really believe that we do get that many opportunities in life. So I do make a point of like some people who maybe call them a wild card. If I see something within them that I feel that, yeah, this person, as long as a few things are fine-tuned, they could potentially be someone who does well at the company, I'm always willing to take a chance on somebody.
So everybody who gets employed by your company, you sit down with?
Yeah, I sit down with, yeah.
How many employees do you have? Do you have a lot?
Not massive team, 6.
Okay.
6.
But you're still turning over a lot of money, though.
We do all right, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And how long the company been around for?
So the company's been in operation since 2016.
Okay.
2016.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, what was that, 4 years after you started?
Yeah, so that's when I registered the company in 2016, but we didn't start trading to 2018, 2019.
What's a typical day for you?
Typical day, wake up probably around say 5:30, 6 o'clock, get ready, sometimes do some affirmations, do some goals, a bit of meditation, drive to the gym, do an hour PT session. That would either involve boxing, cardio or weightlifting. Do that for an hour, drive to work, get to work, conduct a morning meeting, speak with the guys, and then it's a matter of just overseeing the running of the business. So speaking with the other companies externally that we deal with, sending emails, chasing invoices, making sure that a company gets paid, speaking with admin, making sure that documents get sent out to clients, so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it. And most of the time just overseeing the guys and making sure that they're working hard.
Okay. Now, how does that day differ from the day where you were employed by somebody?
Good question. So it would be pretty much the same in a sense of, however, it would just, when I got to work, it would be different. So it'd be the same of waking up, doing personal development in the morning, going to the gym, so on and so forth. I've always done that since probably the age of like 20. And then it would just be a matter of getting to work, getting in contact with my clients, speaking with my clients, forming relationships with them, which I would already have, get an understanding of what they're working with, what they need help with, and then suggesting potential opportunities that we work with that could benefit them.
You spoke a lot about forming character of people when you're employing them.
Yeah.
Forming relationships. I believe that I was actually considering doing a master's in like psychology or something.
Okay.
Because my background's commercial construction, but I'm not going to work in commercial construction. And psychology and understanding people is the key for any industry.
Yeah.
So what skills would you say you need when you're dealing with people, and you especially you're encouraging people to have faith in you to spend their money?
I think just when, okay, so maybe not in a sense of like managing like clients, but just dealing with people in general. I think that experience is key, and relatability. So it's like, sometimes it's like, okay, so if you go into a job, the person, you're just a normal person, and you go and the guy interviewing you's like from, I don't know, studied at Oxford, and like his social status is like a million miles away from yours, you can maybe find it quite hard to relate to that person and maybe be too truthful, because there's no common ground. But I think for myself that where I've kind of done every level, every stage of progression. So it's not a situation where I've just kind of leapfrogged or anything like that. I've kind of like, okay, got in at the ground, did well at the ground, got into the middle ground, did well at the middle ground, got to the top, did well at the top. Do you know what I mean? So it's a situation where, like, even with my staff, there's not really a day or a challenge that they can go through that I haven't faced. So I can always kind of, if I find it quite easy to understand what they're going through and what they will require at this point in time, because I've gone through it myself. And with clients just like honesty. Clients just like you to be yourself. A lot of people try to kind of talk themselves up and make themselves seem a little bit better than what they are. But that doesn't provide anybody with any confidence. If anything, if you talk yourself up too much, then a client will think they're inferior and not feel confident around you. Whereas a client likes to just know that you're actually just a human being, and you're just like them. You're just someone who's, they might be an expert in construction, but that you're just an expert when it comes to finance, but you're just the same as them.
What was the biggest issue that you had to overcome when starting your business?
I would say not getting emotionally attached to things.
I hear that.
Yeah, so I think the one skill that I've definitely developed, and I'd say I've only really fine-tuned this over the latter stages of my career, is working with emotion. Obviously, I think it's always good to get emotion behind a goal, because that gives you energy. But working without emotion, so if something's not going well, just get rid of it. But that can also be people. So if somebody's not working well, somebody's not doing well, you can sometimes have a bit of an emotional connection with them, because at the end of the day, we are humans and we seek camaraderie. So just like not having an emotional connection and just doing what's best for the company.
There's a saying, it goes, you hire slowly, you fire quickly. You hire slowly, so you really need to make sure you've got the right person.
Yeah.
You fire quickly, because if you know they're not, there's no point having them hanging around and sabotaging and
Exactly.
a painful relationship. Just pull that tooth out and let them go.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that. Yeah, because I've experienced it in the past where someone may have a bit of negativity or a bad attitude, and it can become infectious. It can travel around the office like smallpox. Like, it can be people can actually almost get infected by negativity and stuff. So yeah, I do feel that regardless of whatever sort of relationship I have with that individual, if it's affecting the business, well then it needs to be stopped.
How do you create your own office environment, in the sense of, every office has its environment. For instance, Google's very friendly, Microsoft is very aggressive. How do you create that?
I don't feel you have to really create it. I think it's just filtered down from the top to the bottom. So it's like, I probably do create it, but without actually realizing. So it's like unconsciously created, if that makes sense. So I think it's more just like how I am and how I am as a character and as a person, and then that just filters down. So yeah, I'm someone who I like good banter. I like jokes that push it to the edge, that might offend certain people and stuff like that. So that's the kind of banter. And with our work, it is predominantly male orientated, and because it's a high pressure job, it tends to be quite alpha males that work in our industry. So it's just a lot of banter, a lot of guys just kind of putting each other down, but in a jokey way. But also I like to instill camaraderie within the team. We put incentives in place where we'd go to social events and do social trips when we achieve certain targets and stuff. So yeah, it's a good all-round atmosphere at work.
Is there an age limit for someone getting into your industry?
No, there's no age limit. There is no age limit.
I've heard it's a stressful job, so that's why the companies usually attract the young.
Yeah, because it's a job where you can burn out. So with our industry, you find that there's a lot of people who have to have like counsellors. A lot of people become they're in AA, so like Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's just due to the stress with our working life. But yeah, we do predominantly tend to go for younger people. One, because they're more enthusiastic, more energetic, and that when they're younger, they're less likely to burn out.
I suppose there is one thing you haven't mentioned there.
Go ahead.
The military take on young because it's easier to teach younger people.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think that if somebody was older and more experienced and would lead less development, of course I'm going to hire that person, because it means I don't have to train them as much and they can just come straight into the job and start performing. So yeah, it's never a situation where we'd like discriminate against age or anything like that. But I think that because of the pressure that's attached to these jobs, so people who are, with age comes more responsibility, doesn't it? So older people tend to have children, may have mortgages, and having that in the background of their brain, as well as having to hit targets, sometimes can be a bit too much for people. So younger people just seem to deal with pressure a lot better. I know myself, I used to deal with pressure 10 times better than what I do now as I've got older.
That's why you work out 5 days a week. You help relieve that pressure.
Yeah, I would definitely say, it's more to do with my mental health.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's when I wake up and I go to the gym, my focus is a lot more on point. Whereas if I don't go to the gym, my days are a bit all over the place. It just feels a bit foggy. And then if I allow that to go into 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, well then I'm just a bit foggy. So whereas I just see it as like sharpening your sword.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm going to the gym, I'm on point, I'm sharp, I'm effective, I'm efficient.
I'm with it. You've been a great guest.
Thank you.
We've learned a lot. My last 2 questions to you. The first one is, what would you, on your passing, what would be the gift that you'd want to share with the world?
Oh, that's a tough question. On my passing, a gift I would like to share with the world. Maybe hope. Yeah, maybe hope for certain people, maybe from certain social demographics who believe that they don't have an opportunity. So yeah, like hope and an example.
Okay. And you've just touched on there now. What is your? I think you've got dual heritage. What are you? Caribbean?
Yeah. So my parents, my mum is mixed race and my dad is black. So he's from Jamaica. My mum is from Jamaica and England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. It's nice to know that you've set a landmark in that respect.
You know, definitely.
Apart from that, we wish you well.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you want to, I just have to ask you this. Do you want to give out the name of your company?
Yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, my company's called TBC Consultants.
TBC Consultants.
Yeah.
And you on any social media platform?
All social media platforms, and do a Google search, or you can find our company
TBC
website.
Consultants. Okay. Thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Cheers. Thank you. Have a great day.
And to the listeners out there, do not forget to listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where we interview people who've invested from Africa around the world. And I hope you learned something from that. Have a nice day. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.